So, welcome everyone. This is our interview with the lovely developers from Haiti Frog, the developers of Cake Bus, recently released on Steam, Xbox, PS4, and Stadia. And yeah, would you like to tell us a few things about yourselves and the game, Laura and Clem?
So we started IT Frog. Well, I don't remember the date. That's going to be horrible. We started IT Frog in 2017. Yeah. After working for AAA studio for a while, for around 5 years each. So we used to work at Ubisoft, and we worked on big titles, but we were in the end we were working on smaller things. Like I don't know if you heard of Grow Home, Grow Up, or Atomega, for example, which were released around that time. And we thought, like, why not start doing it ourselves, like not depend on Ubisoft anymore and just start our own thing, because we work quite well together. So why not? So we left and we started our own thing. So a little studio called IT Frog. And the first year, first month, we were working on something completely different, but it wasn't really, we weren't really getting anywhere. So we decided to just like start something else, to look into like making other prototype and different things. It was really different at the beginning. It was more like it was really different. Like recently, the past year, for example, has been like fully focused on Cake Bash. But at the time, it was more like we had to switch between working contracts to get money to pay the rent, and also working on our project at the time. But also then we were like, should we start something else, because that's not really working? So yeah, it was like a lot of smaller things. It was a bit more difficult to get dates, really. But yeah, after making some prototype, we had like the idea of trying something with just cakes bashing each other.
By the way, I imagine the project probably had different names when it first started. Something silly, maybe you can share with us.
It was originally called Tasty Cakes, but then someone said it sounded like something else, which was less.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like a romance visual novel kind of game, you know?
So we went for a name that kind of describes what you do. Like we were looking at things like Slime Rancher, like game titles that just say what they do, and we think 2 syllables, nice and short and sweet.
Yeah, that's what we wanted. We wanted it to be like clear, like Laura said. It's like as soon as someone read the name, he thinks, okay, you have that cake and bash.
So, another question will be how long did the development of the game actually take? And maybe what were some of the difficulties that you had during that time?
So we started officially in April 2018. But at that time, we were still doing contract work on the side to pay the bills. And it was quite difficult to stay, like, I don't know what the word is, but just to like stay motivated, I guess, when you have so many different projects that you're kind of like balancing all these different plates at the same time. So until we got Coatsink as our publisher, we were kind of on our own. We were just living off contracts. Yeah, well, the game would have been super different if we didn't have them. Like, we wouldn't have any of the mini games. We wouldn't have online. I think we were only going to have 3 game modes, like bash modes. Yeah, and we've got 5 now. So, and there would be no Get Tasty. So, yeah, it's triple. Yeah, I think it's triple the size at least.
Yeah, at least, and like it's really different thing. Like it's like, yeah, it wouldn't be the same game at all, I don't think.
So, another interesting question will be did you have any disagreements between the two of you while you were developing the game?
Yeah, all the time.
No, it's we definitely disagree quite often in terms of design. I kind of had to convince Clem about Fork Knife because he didn't really like it very much, and he said, "Oh, we should scrap this game and do it differently, like have it on a hob and have different hobs lighting up and stuff like that." I was like, "No, it can work."
Yeah, I was pretty bad. No, but it's an interesting thing, because I tend to think that when you prototype something, it's good to have art and sound and everything, but design is the most important thing you want to try. You want to see if it's fun, and it didn't feel fun. But as soon as Laura put more time into actually working on the art for that mini game, and we had also Levi, our sound designer, who did the work to add sound effect and all that to the knife coming in and the fork, and like, it came to life into being an actual in-world thing. It wasn't just like cubes and then just like a plane where you play on. It was like an actual world. And I realized that was it. That was working. And I think that game wouldn't work without that. And it's not rare, obviously. Like art adds everything to games, but it's like really the fact that it can make or break a game. Like that mini game wouldn't work without the art and the sound design. I think it would be boring, but that's what makes it like fun and exciting, and that just does everything.
Because we work quite well together, and I think we respect each other quite a lot. So like if Clem says something, like I'll always try it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I think we're not too precious over our own ideas. Like if something doesn't work, then I'm quite happy to just throw it in the bin a lot of the time. But if I feel quite passionate about something like fork knife, I'll keep being annoying.
You're right.
So, what would you say were some of your biggest inspirations and influences when creating the game? I know it's a very cliche question, but it's always interesting to hear what developers have to say about it.
I kind of start my side, because it's funny. We have also like we play different games, so we have, I think, different inspiration. But obviously, we shared when working on, but I know it was different thing for me. I think what I looked at the most was Crash Bash on the PlayStation, the first one. So it was like a party game. I don't know why there's not been like any new one, like why they didn't continue doing that. Yeah. But it was great fun, and it was like one thing I really like, which we don't have in Cake Bash, but it was like their story mode. You could actually, it was a party game where you could play for a story and have boss fights and things like that, and it was really interesting. So yeah, for me it's one of the big one, and obviously like Mario Party, but I think that's one which like is quite obvious for everyone. It's a party game, so right away a party game, Mario Party. But I don't know as other ones, so she can maybe talk away.
Yeah, I think it was Mario Party on the N64 specifically, and Pokemon Stadium, because like they only have like 9 mini games, but I think most people didn't actually play it to battle Pokemon. They played it for those mini games because they were all good, and like they all had their own scenario, and they all had like quite simple controls, but like the pressure to beat your siblings is just like so intense. And every time I go home to my family, we pull out the N64. Like it doesn't matter what games have been released recently, like that's the one. And I think there's something really special about it. So I think that was my biggest influence.
So, what would you say are your plans now? Cake Bass 2, or continue updating the current game and maybe, I suppose, debugging and a lot of things like that? Or maybe something that you'd like to tell me maybe after the interview that is top secret?
So at the moment, we are really like focusing on fixing bugs which are reported by the community, because we want the game to be the best as it can in its current state first. So we are fixing bugs. We are answering also players' requests. We had like some requests from players who are just asking for changes, which were like not too much to do. So if we think it's great, we do it because if it can just make the game better, it's really good. It's actually been really good to interact with the community about this kind of thing. And after we've done that, we need a break. We need a break from cakes. We haven't started on anything else yet. Like I say, we are focusing really on. It's we have to say finishing Cake Bash because we thought it was finished, but there's always more things, and then when you have so many people trying the game, that's when you realize what could be better, and that's what we're doing now. And we have ideas for what could be added to the game and could have more fun. But for now, we can't like confirm anything or talk about anything specific yet.
All right. So just focusing on Cake Bash for now.
Yeah.
And having mentioned the community, we've been seeing a huge thing happening with Discord and actual indie games having like small communities to very large communities out of nowhere, which is pretty amazing, honestly. Like, us as press, it has been amazing to actually get in those communities and immediately see a lot of people giving feedback, reporting bags, talking about the game. It's actually really, really, really intuitive to actually have direct communication with the devs in that way. So how has it helped you even before the launch of the game?
So we actually don't have like a public Discord. We've just been using CodeSync's one.
All right.
Since launch, it's been really good to see like people's ideas, and we've got a couple of bug reports through there, I think, that we've seen. It's just really good to just be able to chat normally. I think it helps, like, as being indies, to just be more personable to people. Like we're the opposite of corporate, really.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, exactly, right?
yeah, like just chatting to people, I think, is like really important. So Discord's great for that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's just that I love to ask that question now because it it feels like it's such a huge thing for not just for promotion reasons, but for actually getting close to the players. Because every person that we've talked to that is a huge fan of a certain indie game, let's say like one of the bigger ones, for example, Hyper Light Drifter, you probably understand how much we love it, which is why we're called the way we are called.
Yeah,
Or any of like the other games like Dead Cells that have like a huge following, those games actually grew a lot because of their Discord communities, and it's actually really great to see indie games actually evolve now to this point, like community based. So yeah, I mean that's why I wanted to know more about Cake Boss because it feels like it's the kind of game that really needs that kind of thing on its back.
yeah. I think you could be right. Like maybe we should start a cake bash Discord. Like I'm up for it, to be honest. I don't know how you get people in there
I
to
don't even
start with.
work for Coaching them.
But yeah, the coaching one, yeah, it's got quite a few people in there. But I don't know if it would be better to have like a more focused one, like maybe a company one. We've got one, but now we just post pictures of us winning it Among Us. And that's it. It's
that's
not
that's
really used.
that is kind of a huge game lately, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant though. They deserve their success. Like
Yeah.
it's so much fun and it's perfect. It's really cheap and like you can play on mobile, so it's really accessible for people. Yeah, I've been impressed by it.
My girlfriend is actually working in the other room right now, and she's working from home. And the people at work, she works as a cloud engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and the people at work she works with have never played video games in their lives, and suddenly they're doing team building exercises on Among Us.
Team building.
Yeah, so
It's not really a team building
yeah,
game.
exactly. That's what I said. I was like, what do you mean? That's not exactly like helping build a team,
That's
is it?
really no, but it's good like when people who don't normally play games get into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's something we've seen a lot with Cake Bash actually is parents getting involved with their kids playing
yeah,
games. And yeah, we're quite proud of that one. Like we've been the few events that we've been to, there's been parents saying like, I feel like I can play this,
yeah.
and like I can get involved with their hobby, which is nice.
That was one of the things that we actually said when I jumped on the stream, and I didn't expect to be able to play with you. By the way, that was really awesome. There were so many people watching that stream. I was like, guys, I'm playing with the two High Tea Frog devs, the developers of Cake Boss. They're like, oh my god, send us a link. And everybody jumped in to watch, and they said, "Oh my god, this Laura and this Clem people like they're so good at the game. This is like sweaty Cake Boss." I'm like, "Oh my god, yes, I'm really trying." It was really good. It was really good. It was a very good. How can I say? Like you presented the game in its most competitive form, which was really nice. Like,
Yeah, don't hold back.
yeah. A
So,
more industry related question. How do you feel about the indies industry at the moment? I know it's a very vague question, but you being indie devs, how do you see the whole situation right now? How do you feel about promotion, releasing your game, and all those kind of things? Is it like something you fear? Is it something that you feel people are afraid to go into, or people are finding it easier? How do you see it from your perspective as developers?
It's never been better than it is now.
Yeah,
Because it's like the different platforms, whether it's like consoles or Steam, give more and more space to indie games because it just got bigger and bigger, which means that there's more space given to them so that you can actually show your thing. It's the same for press. Press now talks more about indie game than they used to do in the past, which is great. The tools are also much easier to use. Like if you have a tiny team, it's easier to make a game. I would have been 10 years ago. So that makes that it's easier to actually get a game out there. And I think a lot of people are a bit afraid of the different platforms, like of thinking, oh, we want to have a game on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One or Nintendo Switch or Google Stadia.
just to
And
interrupt you
they,
there,
yeah,
is it still like really difficult to actually publish your game on different platforms from a developer's perspective?
I don't think so. Yeah, that's why I was actually going for now. Is
Okay.
like I don't. I think it's now not really that difficult. Obviously, there's lots of work around it, which is if you want to do marketing and PR and all these things to get people to know about your game. But getting your game on the platform is not that difficult anymore, because the people at the like working for a console, they're humans too. So like what we did when it was before even working with Cutsing, but what we did first, we just contacted them. And so there's, for example, for Xbox, there's a program, ID at Xbox, which is made specifically for that. If you're an indie and you have a game concept, you just talk to them. For Nintendo and PlayStation, we just contacted them, send them a message and say, hi, we're making this game. We'd like to have it on your console. Yeah, that's really that. And if you make something that you believe in and if you present it in a nice way, like they have no reason to say no, because it's only positive thing. It's more game on the platforms, and it went well for us, and I'm sure it will go well for many people. It's just say you need to try try doing it and to push a little bit, and yeah, I think it's great. I think obviously I wasn't in that situation 10 years ago, so I can't really compare, but I feel that it got only better. So that's really good. So yeah, that's why I think
it was a good explanation behind that's good sentence. Yeah. No, there's definitely a lot to be said about the whole platforms thing. That's why I interrupted you there and asked like more about the difficulty behind it, because as you said 10 years ago, a lot of developers, what we read was basically that they were afraid to put their game on other platforms because it was hard to either promote it or prepare it for that platform. Despite it being a great thing to have like your game on Nintendo consoles and PlayStation consoles. But yeah, no, it definitely feels like that right now. How do you feel about the whole Steam Epic Game Store Origin thing situation going on?
I don't know if I know enough about it, but I think it's good to have a competitor. But I think people are just like super mean. Like I saw what happened to the people who make ooblets, and I just thought, like, why are people so mad? Like, it's a game about little creatures that you collect and they dance.
You said super mean, right?
Sorry?
You said super mean.
Yeah, super mean.
Okay.
Yeah, like just a lot of people on the internet are like just really aggressive when people go to Epic. I don't really blame them for it, because I think you get quite a lot of money. And to indie developers, like, that can be the difference between surviving or not. So, but I think it's good to have a competitor, but Steam's been really good for us. Got a lot of players on there. It's one of our best-selling platforms so far, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Valve are nice to work with. We had two, what's it called, like summer. We had like a summer and autumn demo festival thing, which was really good for boosting our wish lists. And they have like a lot of players and traffic, so it's good.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
They have good promotional like campaigns like now and then, like the Halloween Steam sale, for example, things like that. It's pretty great. So yeah, to move on from the industry, anything specific you would like to talk about your game or something before I continue?
I don't know.
We've been talking a lot about the game, so
that's the answer that I was expecting. It's always like developers always say that they're like, we've talked about Cakebus so much. I don't know what to say anymore.
Yeah, it actually feels nice to talk about other things for once.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't mind talking about Cakebus really, but it's just it's surprisingly it's quite rare that we have questions which are not about directly Cakebus. So it's interesting, I think, to talk about these things too.
Yeah, I mean, you're professionals in a field that is very interesting, and you're making interactive art. So your opinion on things other than Cakebus is valued.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what games do you look up to when it comes to indies? Because, yeah, do you have like any favorites or anything that you admire? Let's say.
Yeah, I think the biggest game I look up to in terms of indie development is Hollow Knight.
Okay.
Because it's a 3-man team, and they made that all by themselves, and it's like so ambitious, and if you played it you wouldn't think it was made by 3 people, and I think that's kind of what we want to go for. We want to make games that don't look like they've been made by a tiny team but have.
Yeah.
So when you look at the credits you go, what? Where is everyone?
It's like just 2 names just rolled down and then it's done. You're like, wait, what?
I love Hollow Knight. I love how massive that map is. I still don't think I got 100%, and
No, me
I
neither.
never did Nightmare. And like I could just go back and keep playing it
Yeah.
forever.
I actually
like-
feel like I can't. Like, if you go back to it, you feel like you don't remember anything from the map, and
Yeah,
you're like, I do not belong in this game anymore.
yeah, exactly. And like all the areas are so different, and like you've got like that place full of spiders, and like the sound
I
design
hate
is
it.
incredible. But it's so good. Like all crawling over the screen, like it's such a perfect world. Like I'm amazed by what they made.
Looking forward to the sequel, I guess.
Oh yeah, Silk Song. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Hornet. I dressed up as her last year for Halloween, actually.
Oh my god. I found I'm a huge fan of indies cosplay because it's so rare. Last time at Gamescom, I found a couple dressed as the Journey characters. You know,
Oh,
the red and the
cool.
white. And I was like, oh my god, can I please have a picture with you?
That's really nice.
It's such a rare sight. So yeah, I can imagine how exciting it must be to actually even dress up yourself as like a Hollow
Yeah.
Knight character.
No, that was really fun. I made a big mask, big white horned mask. It was really fun.
So what about you, Clem? Any favorites?
Well, it's probably Hollow Knight too. But if I have just to talk about another thing, recently I've been playing Hades, which I know a lot of people have been playing. So it's not really like a surprise, I guess I'm mentioning it, but I thought, yeah, it's great. I mean, all the games that they made are really good. But it's like to me, it's like a sort of consecration. It's like,
Yeah.
it takes things from Bastion, which were great in Bastion before, and have them in the combat system there. But it adds like really nice storytelling too in a roguelite kind of game. It's yeah, I was really impressed. I got it on early access last year, I think. And I didn't play it that much. But obviously when it got released now, I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a try again. And I think I've spent like 20 hours on it. and it was great. It's just so enjoyable to just do a run, like try
Yeah.
to get to the end, and then just once in a while just pick a weapon and you do it. It works really well. It's amazing. So yeah, that's another one.
The amazing thing that Supergiant Games has done is that they were very smart about the games that they released. Like they released Transistor during the times that people loved the turn-based games and they loved this whole like story into a longer kind of like lasting game. And then they made Pyre, which was nothing like that, and it was all about just like quick sports kind of like thing with the story that they love to tell. And then Hades, which I love and hate for the reasons that you said, but also because of the fact that it is Supergiant Games again. It's amazing, and it tells a story that it tells like amazingly yet again. But the thing is that it appeals to streamers. It's the thing that you will keep watching again and again, and that is such a smart decision by the studio, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
out of nowhere suddenly they make a game like that when they haven't made anything like it. Like okay, Bastion was something like it, but still it had its own story, its own narrative.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I would say why I hate it mostly because it's not like it doesn't have like kind of an end like Pyre, for example, where you just got to the end and you're like crying your eyes out like at the end screen. You're like, oh my god, it's over, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah. Anyway, not to take over your interview, I just love talking about these things.
No, it's good.
No, that's good. That's good.
We love when people are passionate about games. We can
So-
talk about them all day, to be honest.
Yeah, no, of course. As I said, like I love it when it's kind of a discussion. When we get the chance to like talk with people that have put so much work into this industry, it's always great to hear their opinions. As I said, your opinions are valued. They really are. And that's why we're trying our best to actually put them out there as well. So I really don't have that much more to ask. Is there anything else you would like to add about your game or?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Jack would say it's on Stadia, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Steam for $19.99 SRP, depending on your region. Honestly, I can't do math.
Yeah,
It's out now, yay!
Hey, Jack.
and it's compatible. Will be player through backwards compatibility on PS5 and Xbox Series. So
Yeah.
I have to say, Jack has a way more British accent than I expected him to have.
how British though? Because that's the thing. It's like sometimes people think I'm posh British, and sometimes people think I'm just like really Cockney.
No,
Yeah,
I think
me too.
it's more the Cockney, isn't it?
I don't know.
I would have said posh British, but
I don't know. I've mostly hanged around the other Scottish people mostly, so I don't have like very good experience with. I don't have enough experience, not good or bad experience with British people. But yeah,
I don't know.
unless there's anything else to add, I think that sums it up. No?
Okay.
Okay, I love this moment. It's always so awkward. Like, I don't know, do I want to say more about my game? Is there anything else?
Yeah, we worked on it so long.
yeah, and we also didn't ask before what thing we were allowed to say or not. So
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
so we don't know yet what's planned to be announced and when and all that. So
Yeah, I can imagine that if there was something that, there's an update or something you can reveal, you would have told me about it. So I'm not going to press for anything like that. Don't worry.
It's coming to Switch soon.
Yeah. So
Say that.
you've already made that that announcement, right? You've made that update, I believe.
Yeah, we said it was coming before the end of the year, but it's definitely coming before the end of the year.
Okay. So
We're just tying a little bow on the top.
all right. All right, perfect. Thank you once again for taking the time. It was really lovely, really nice to be talking to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.